The time is 6:15. Here is the news, edited by Dilni Gunawardana, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. The police say that those who insult all religions will be arrested. An agreement is signed to extend India's $1 billion credit line for Sri Lanka. China emphasizes that it will always stand for Sri Lanka's sovereignty and socio-economic development. IMF's Deputy Managing Director will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow. Fuel quotas are to be increased from midnight today. Foreign news, Russia accuses Ukraine of terrorist strike. Sports news, tennis. French Open 2023, Alcaraz's second major bid starts smoothly. Local news in detail. Police spokesperson SSP Nihal Thalduva said that those who insult all religions, including Buddhism, will be arrested. He further said that a number of religions have been made against Natasha Edirisurya, who was arrested recently. Some websites that have an adverse effect on the culture have been banned. The procedure will continue. He further requested the public to assist the ongoing procedure. Meanwhile, Minister Bandula Gunawardana said that an intentional and planned program is underway to make the public emotional using the social media. The Security Council has been informed in this regard. The minister added that the government is paying full attention towards this situation. Minister of Finance Jan Semasenga says the signing of the agreement to extend the $1,000 million assistance scheme from India for the import of essential materials for the further period of 1 year have been carried out today. In a Twitter message, Minister Semasenga has mentioned that the officials of the State Bank of India had participated in the event virtually. The minister mentioned that the initial agreement was signed in 2022 March, adding that out of the $1,000 million allocated, materials were imported for $576,075 million. Accordingly, the agreement has been extended for the remaining $423.25 million. Furthermore, the finance minister also stressed that the import of essential medicines will be prioritized until March 2024. Chinese Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Sun Weidong said Sri Lanka is a long-time friend of China and his country will always stand by Sri Lanka's sovereignty as well as for political independence and socio-economic development. He stated this when he called on Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardana at the Temple Trees today. The Vice Minister assured that China will increase investments in several areas such as agriculture, trade and commerce, ports and infrastructure development in Sri Lanka. He also said China will continue to provide economic assistance as well as support Sri Lanka's debt restructuring program. The Prime Minister expressed sincere gratitude towards the government of China for the help given at the natural calamities such as tsunami and the COVID pandemic, as well as for the efforts to overcome current economic crisis. He made a special mention about the humanitarian assistance and medical aid to Sri Lanka by way of providing shipments of Sinopharm vaccine, medical masks, COVID-19 test kits and other health equipment to battle the pandemic, further strengthening the solidarity between the two countries. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, Dr. Himali Kotalavala, Director General of the Department of Animal Production and Health, stated that cattle do not die due to a lumpy skin disease, which is spreading in several parts of the northwestern province. In a meeting held at the Hector Bakado Agricultural Research and Training Institute this morning, the Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Amaravira, asked the Director General in this regard. She said that there is little chance of cattle dying due to this disease. The cattle lump skin disease was previously reported from the northeastern province, and its spread was successfully controlled. But ignoring the instructions given by the Department of Animal Production and Health not to transport these cattle, some people have transported cattle from areas where the disease has spread to other areas. However, after contracting this disease, the cattle become immune to it, so there is no possibility of contracting the disease again. Also, eating the meat of beef, such cattle does not spread the disease to others, and this disease especially causes to reduce milk production. Apart from that, there is no spread by touching lumpy skin disease cattle, and the Director General emphasized that there should be no necessary fear regarding this disease. State Minister of Finance Sehan Semasinga says Deputy Managing Director of the IMF Kenji Okamura will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow for 2 days official visit. During his visit, Okamura is expected to hold several rounds of discussions on the recent changes in Sri Lanka's economic stability and the opportunities to empower the economy in the future. The discussions will also focus on the methods to minimize the obstacles and delays hampering the economic recovery. Okamura's visit comes days after the IMF staff team's visit to Sri Lanka, which was part of the regular consultations between the global lender and the island nation, ahead of the first review mission later in 2023. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Controller General of Immigration and Immigration, Harsa Ilukupitiya, says an online passport application system will be implemented in the coming days pursuant to President Ranil Wickremesinghe's initiative to digitalize the public service. He said this new process aims to streamline the passport application process and ensure that passports are delivered to the applicant's residence within a span of 3 days. The Controller General further added that 50 regional secretariats across the island have been equipped with the necessary facilities to facilitate the efficient delivery of the passports. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight. Applications are called from the qualified teachers for paper marking of the GCE Ordinary Level 2022. The Commissioner General of Examinations said the teachers could apply for paper marking via online at www.onlineexams.gov.lk. The deadline to submit applications is 15th of June 2023. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Russia accuses Ukraine of terrorist strike. The Brazil president welcomes back banned Venezuelan leader. Mosque closure shows clashes with security forces in Yunnan. World news in detail. Russia has accused Ukraine of launching a series of drone attacks on Moscow, the first time the city has been targeted by multiple drones since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry said that Kyiv had staged a terrorist attack using at least 8 drones. Minor damages had been caused to several buildings. Ukraine has denied carrying out the drone strikes. A presidential aide said that the Kyiv has not directly involved in the Moscow attacks, but Ukraine had joined enjoying watching events unfold. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has visited Brazil for the first time since he was banned by former far-right President Jair Bolsonaro in 2019. Mr. Maduro was received by the new president, fellow leftist Lula da Silva, ahead of summit of Latin American leaders in Brasilia. The Brazilian president said that was the beginning of Maduro's return. Former President Maduro talked of a new era in bilateral relations with President da Silva, said the region should tackle poverty. Protesters have clashed with a large number of police over the planned demolition of the mosque's dome in the largely Muslim town in Yunnan, China. Social media video showed crowds outside the 13th century Najiang Mosque in Nagu town. Scuffles broke out between police and locals, who were hemmed in by hundreds of armed forces. Yunnan, an ethnically diverse province in southern China, has a significant Muslim population. China is officially atheist, but the government says it always religious freedom. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Russia accuses Ukraine of terrorist strike. The Brazil president welcomes back banned Venezuelan leader. Moscow closure sees clashes with security forces in Yunnan. That ends World News.
Development News.
The Cabinet of Ministers has given the go-ahead to resume the Colombo Light Rail Transit project, which was to be jointly implemented with the support of the Japanese government, but scrapped during the administration of the former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandula Gunawardena stated this while addressing the media briefing convened to announce cabinet decisions this morning. That ends Development News. Moving on to sports news. World number 1 Carlos Alcaraz progressed in straight sets, beating Italiano Flavio Cobolli 6-0, 6-2, 7-5. The Spaniard is in the same half of the draw as Djokovic, and the two could meet in the semi-finals. The US Open champion cruised through the first 2 sets before eventually taking his 5th match point after Cobolli had threatened to force a 4th set. The 20-year-old will face Japan's Taro Daniel next as he continues to bid for the second major title. Asked about his approach to the sports after Greek 5th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas yesterday described him as a breath of fresh air, Alcaraz said the most important thing for him is to enjoy and smile on court. That ends the sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyamata set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyamata set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
First Capital Holdings plc, a member of the Jana Shakti Group, announces its impressive financial results and a remarkable turnover from the previous year, marking the year ended 31st of March 2023, its most successful in its 40-year history. The group's financial results exhibit an impressive feat with a total comprehensive income of 2.71 billion rupees, showcasing a significant improvement from the previous year's total comprehensive loss of 640 million rupees. This demonstrates the group's resilience, strategic initiatives, and effective risk management. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyamata set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyamata set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Economic news, courtesy of...
For the 5th consecutive year, LOLC is awarded People's Financial Services Brand of the Year at the 2022 Slim Kantar People's Awards. As the People's Financial Services Brand of the Year, LOLC continues to place the customer first, and this has won the hearts, minds and trust of Sri Lankans, with yet another prestigious award as proof of this lasting commitment. LOLC. Imagine the possibilities.
Moving on to economic news. The Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka has taken steps to register small medium enterprises with the aim of directing the country's IT and IT-related services to the international market. Local IT SMEs that have registered with the Access International Markets National Program, a pioneering initiative spearheaded by the Technology Industry Development Division of the Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka, will have the opportunity to move into the international arena, leveraging robust international relations. That ends economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
Weather report.
Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places over the island during the evening or night. Fairly heavy showers above 75 mm are likely at some places in the eastern and Ua province. Showers will occur in the western coastal areas and in Galle and Matra districts during the morning. That ends with the report. To wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The police say that those who insult all religions will be arrested. An agreement is signed to extend India's $1 billion credit line for Sri Lanka. China emphasizes that it will always stand for Sri Lanka's sovereignty and socio-economic development. IMF's Deputy General Managing Director will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow. Fuel quotas are to be increased from midnight today. Foreign news, Russia accuses Ukraine of terrorist strike. Sports news, tennis. French Open 2023. Alcaraz's second major bid starts smoothly. That ends the evening news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka.